Today we are discussing endometriosis, gluten intolerance, hormonal imbalances, and infertility. You don't need to be afraid. You can handle this, and here's how you do it.
The Ask Dr. Mom Show.
Welcome to the Ask Dr. Mom Show, Episode 8. I just recently got back from Idaho Falls where I was babysitting some grandchildren. And while I was up there, I had a chance to talk to one of my daughters who is dealing with some infertility challenges. I talked with a daughter-in-law who is going through some self-image challenges after just giving birth to a new baby. And recently, I talked to another daughter-in-law who is dealing with some perimenopausal challenges. And what this did was kind of remind me of how incredible women are. So to my own daughters-in-law, and to those of you who are watching this episode, I want to just take a minute to say thank you for all the incredible things that you do for your families, for your children, the selfless acts of love and kindness that you do every single day to take care of your children and your families. I just want you to know how incredible you are, how special you are, and how important the contribution is that you are making to this world. With that, we'll move into question number 1.
All right, Yolandi Creek asks, what advice can you give for women who suffer from endometriosis? I have a friend who suffers from this. She just recently had a cyst rupture on her right ovary that landed her in the hospital. There is suspicion that endometriosis caused her miscarriage a few years ago. I understand it can lead to infertility, but could it also be the cause for a miscarriage? Can the damage be reversed through natural treatment and prevent future issues? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I love your videos. Thank you for all you do, bringing awareness to holistic ways of living. I look forward to your videos. I always learn something new. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolandi. That's very sweet and kind of you to say. Endometriosis is becoming more and more and more common. They actually do not know for sure what is causing it. There are several theories out there. The theory that I tend to lean toward the most is that it's a hormonal imbalance. Another theory is that it is a type of autoimmune disease where the immune system has been compromised and is no longer keeping things in balance. The answer to your second half of your question is yes, it has definitely been linked to infertility and miscarriages. The answer to the last part of your question is yes, I have seen endometriosis cleared up naturally and completely reversed. So if I was dealing with this problem personally or with one of my own daughters or someone in my family, the very first thing I'm going to do is look at my diet. And I know that I'm beginning to sound like a broken record here, but this is the very first thing that I would look at. If I am using a lot of animal products, then I automatically know that I am bringing a lot of chemicals into my diet. Because when we buy commercially prepared animal products, we know that they are going to be full of steroids, immunizations, pesticides, antibiotics, all of these different chemicals, which are absolutely going to play havoc with our chemistry. So the very first thing I'm going to look at is how many animal products am I taking into my body on a regular basis. The second thing I'm going to look at is fast and or processed foods, because again, they're full of a lot of dyes, a lot of chemicals. We build life with life. So I want to make sure that at least half of my diet is going to be full of live fruits and vegetables. The second thing I am going to do is use an herbal supplement like the Hormonal Help Stage 2 in order to help bring my hormones back into balance. I would take that 3 times a day along with some wheat germ oil. Let's move to question 2 and we'll add on to what we're already talking about.
Lydia Marcuse says, thanks for an amazingly informative show. Going to purchase the Hormonal Stage 2. However, I am gluten intolerant. Should I use wheat germ?
Lydia, technically the refining process should remove all gluten from the oil. Now, obviously it's possible that there could be a little bit left, but normally, even if someone has a gluten intolerance, typically I don't worry about the oil because there shouldn't be any gluten left in it. Okay, Hans, what do we have for question 3?
Tara Dusenberry asks, are you out of hormonal stage 2? I couldn't find it. Also, what do you take instead of wheat germ if you're allergic to wheat?
Tara, not to my knowledge. I don't think that we're out of it. If you go to sprigs.life and then click on the women's health and scroll down, I think it's on about row 3 or 4, you should be able to find the hormonal help stage 1, 2, and 3. They're all listed separately right there. If you cannot do wheat germ oil, if it has an adverse effect on you, then personally I would go to the Barlean's Essential Woman. I have been to their plant. They do an amazing job at putting their oils together, and the Essential Woman has actually been formulated to help balance hormones and to make sure that you are getting the right omegas in your diet. So if I was intolerant to wheat germ oil, that's what I would go to. Okay, Hans, question 4.
Stella Sokol asks, for the past 2 years I've had intermittent periods and want to get pregnant. Everything has checked out. I'm estrogen dominant is all that I found. What can I do? I'm so confused by all the contradictory information. Diet? Certain vitamins?
Stella, I'm really sorry that you're struggling with this. I know how heartbreaking it can be to want a baby and not be able to get there. If your tests are showing that you are estrogen dominant, then you definitely have a hormonal imbalance. So in the last few minutes that I have in this episode, I am going to quickly go through the steps that I have used in the past in working with other women who have had infertility problems. We kind of take this line upon line. The very first thing that we're going to look at, and I know you already know the answer to this, the first thing we're going to look at is the diet. It doesn't matter what else we add on. If we don't get our diet cleaned up and get rid of all those extra hormones and chemicals and garbage, chances are, no matter what else we do, we may not get where we're trying to be. So the first thing I'm going to really emphasize is that we clean up the diet. We build life with life. Another thing I would highly recommend is getting hold of this book. called Taking Charge of Your Fertility. It is one of the best books that I have found on learning how to chart. This is a very important step along with your diet and the other things that we're going to discuss, is to start charting every single cycle so that you get to know your body and exactly what is going on at any given time during your cycle. The second thing I would work on is bringing the hormones back into balance. And I would do that during the childbearing years with the hormonal help, stage 2 and wheat germ oil 3 times a day. If we're dealing with a teenage problem of hormonal imbalance, then I would use the stage 1. If we're going into the menopausal years and we're past our childbearing years, then I would use the stage 3. Each of these formulas has been designed to help with the stage of life we're in. So if I'm dealing with infertility, I would go with the stage 2. Now, straightening out the diet, bringing in the herbal supplement and the wheat germ oil, I would work on these 2 items for 3 to 4 cycles. So I am going to do this for 3 or 4 months. I'm assuming that you're also getting plenty of fresh water to drink and you're exercising every day, because those are also essential. If at the end of 4 months a pregnancy has not resulted, then the third step I would take involves Dr. Christopher's VB formula. That stands for vaginal bolus. It comes in a powdered form, and the herbs in this formula are designed to draw. In order to use this formula, you are going to need cocoa butter. You take the VB powder, you melt down your cocoa butter, and add the powder to the melted cocoa butter. You are going to want a very thick consistency. You want the consistency of pie dough or Play-Doh, something like that. You want it really thick. Then what I have found to be the easiest way to use it and to keep it on hand is to take an ice cube tray and pack your formula into the cubicles of the ice cube tray and put it in the freezer. Then when you need to use it, you are going to take that ice cube tray out of the freezer, and depending on the size of your cubes, you're either going to cut it in half or cut it into thirds. The cocoa butter will melt at body temperature, so when you pick up your half or your third, it will begin to melt because of the heat in your fingers. So you're going to mold it into the shape of a tampon. The schedule that Dr. Christopher set up was this. You're going to insert 2 to 3 boluses Monday morning. You'll do that again Monday night. Then you'll do it Tuesday morning. Tuesday night, you're going to start the slant board routine. In order to do the slant board routine, you need to make a quart of yellow dock tea, and you need to have a bottle of castor oil on hand. Then you are going to get into a slant board position. You can do this with a commercial slant board or anything that will support your weight in a head down position where your hips are at least 18 inches above your head. The way that I have found the easiest to do this is to take 4 or 5 folded bath towels and stack them up in the bathtub. Then I get into the bathtub with my hips up on those folded towels, which puts me in the head down position. Then you are going to douche with that yellow dock tea. staying in this head down position for 15 to 20 minutes. While you are in the head down position, you're going to take the castor oil and apply it to the abdomen. Then I do a massage, an abdominal massage, starting at the pubic bone, coming up to the navel, and then around the outside, back up and around the outside. By doing this, the castor oil helps to break up things that shouldn't be in the abdomen. It also, by doing that massage, you're helping to pull that yellow duct up into the uterus to help nourish it. This is also going to flush out any residual bolus that you have left. So, Monday morning, Monday night, Tuesday morning, we do the bolus. Tuesday night, we do the slant board routine. Wednesday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, bolus. Thursday night, slant board routine. Friday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, we do bolus. Saturday night, we do slant board routine. Sunday, we rest from our labors. Typically, I will do this step again for 3 or 4 cycles, but I am going to do the boluses every other month. So month 1, I would do the bolus. Month 2, I would not do the boluses, but I would keep up the diet, the herbal formulas, all those things. And then month 3, I would do the boluses again for obvious reasons. It's kind of hard to get pregnant when you're doing these boluses. All right, after doing these first 3 steps, if we still do not have a pregnancy, then we're going to move into step 4. Step 4, I discovered because several years ago, I was bleeding to death. Literally never having a day off from my cycles. I was just constantly bleeding and sometimes hemorrhaging. And what it all came down to was I ended up in the emergency room one Sunday morning after hemorrhaging all over the bed and found out that I had uterine fibroids. At that time, my only option was a hysterectomy. In fact, the doctor said, "You will check in tomorrow morning so that we can do a transfusion because my hematocrit had fallen so low, and a hysterectomy, or you will bleed to death." For reasons that I don't have time to go into right now, I chose not to do that. One of the things that I did do was every night for 2 weeks, I started doing a wheatgrass juice douche. So I would get into the tub in the slant board position and I would douche with straight wheatgrass juice. By the 3rd day, my bleeding stopped. On the 10th day, I passed some tissue. And after 2 weeks of doing this, I fell back into a regular 28-day cycle with a normal 3 to 5 day period. And I continued this schedule until the age of 60, when I finally went into menopause. And so because of my own experience, I was able to see how much that wheatgrass juice regenerated the uterus and helped to provide the right type of environment to become healthy again. So step 4 is what I have had my daughters and clients do if they are still not pregnant. Then I share my experience with them, and many of them have gone on to do exactly what I did and douche with the wheatgrass juice every night for 2 weeks, along with the castor oil massage that we talked about on the slant board routine. By doing these 4 steps, I have seen many, many women who had had infertility problems for years be able to overcome them and achieve a pregnancy. And Stella, I hope that will be your happy ending. Okay, Hans, what do we have left?
Awesome. Tammy Lisa Lake says, thank you so much, my most beautiful friend Sandra. I am the stage 4 cancer survivor that she speaks about in her video, and I wanted to just touch on what she was saying about keeping the body alkalized to conquer most any health opportunity we experience. Although it took me over a year on a very disciplined regimen and diet, the most difficult for me to get into alignment to keep my body alkalized was my emotional and mental state, which is just as acidic to the body, if not more so, than a diet we eat. I am now a certified life coach that specializes in helping others avoid or conquer health opportunities. And one of the first things I always say to my clients is, remember, cancer is not a death sentence. It's just an opportunity to look deep within all areas of our life and choose to change them for better health or not. But in the end, none of us are getting out of this alive. And if the good Lord sees fit to bring you back into His embrace because you have finished your contract here on this earth, then all we can do is celebrate. God bless and thank you so very much for your incredible talent, skill, experiences, and knowledge that you share with us, Sandra.
Lisa, you already know how much I love you and how much I value our friendship. But even more than that, you are such an incredible example of what it means to take responsibility for your own health. You inspire me, and I know you inspire all those who come in contact with you. So thank you for sending that in and sharing the rest of the story. This is the Ask Dr. Mom Show, and I'm Sandra Ellis. Thank you for joining us today.